Well, it is Monday, May 1st, 2026. Yeah, we're in the new month of May. I'm very, very happy because I literally woke up with this month's vision. It began with a song message. No surprise there. And I literally have been mapping out what we're going to be learning this month. Are you ready? We are going to learn about water. Water is on my spirit. And I like that because I love water, you guys. I'm a water baby. I'm a water sign. Water is my thing. So we're going to get into this month. And by the way, if you're following me over on our anxiety support stream, anxiety and depression support stream, or Friday night, we're going to be talking about this all over the place, just like we did last month, actually. I don't know. I feel like we're just going to be talking about everything in tandem to encourage us on our journey. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to log on before I get started. My name is Ruby. Welcome to Mind Heart Mondays. I stream this class, I guess you could call it a class, every Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And here we talk about everything pertaining to the mind and the heart. And as I shared last week, y'all, I have been building my playlist. So you can actually go now to my playlist on my channel and you can pick any Mind Heart Monday live stream and watch it. And that includes my other live streams that I have been doing. Still working on the playlist, but they are started. So don't hesitate to check them out. But here we are. Here we are, the month of May. And tonight's teaching I have titled Surrender to the Living Water. Surrender. This is going to be huge this month because this is what I'm feeling in my spirit. We are in a season where we are going to have to make some choices. We're in a season of decision before the tide comes in. Y'all, this is super vital. Now, I know last month I was very cautious and careful to give us a pause from talking about all the madness of the world. I wanted to give us a respite and talk about light and talk about goodness. But this month, I have a feeling we are going to have to talk about some things. And the first place we're going to start is me teaching you and then encouraging you to surrender to the living water. How's everybody doing? Welcome everybody coming in this live stream and chat. How are you doing? How is May starting for you? Or how has May began for you? Some of you are actually in different time zones, so maybe it's already May 2nd for you, but it is May 1st still for me. And we're talking about water this month, y'all. I already have our teachings laid out. I'm so excited. I am so excited. Zamir, how's it going? MJ King, do you like Michael Jackson? I do. In fact, Thriller was my first vinyl when I was a kid. How's that sound? Do you like Michael Jackson? I think by your name, I would say yes. You guys, let's get into this. Here's how we're going to begin. And if you're watching this on the replay, this is just as live and real and fresh for you as it is for us, as I am literally doing this live. But I want you to, if you will, take a moment, okay? Stop what you're doing, drop what you're doing, and take a moment with me. And I want you to think about water. What do you envision Close your eyes if you have to. Close your eyes and envision water. What does that look like to you? What image are you seeing? Because I want you to keep this image in your mind as we go into and through this month, because it's going to be your guide. And when I say this, I might even mean this for the rest of this year. This is how heavy this is weighing on me. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean this as a responsibility that I must share this. Okay? So what is the image of water that you imagine? And I want you to take a snapshot of it in your mind and carry it with you like a Polaroid the rest of this year. What is that image for you? Hi, Blaine. How's it going? Welcome, and welcome everybody coming into the chat and the live stream. We are getting into some teachings for our Mind Heart Mondays and actually all my classes this month. I'm very excited. As you can see by the title, I am going to teach us on surrendering to the living water. Okay, so in order for us to get into this, we must define some of our words. What is surrender? What does that mean to you? When I say surrender, I am literally speaking of reckless abandon, complete free fall, and trust. Now, for some of us, this is already making us feel uncomfortable because some of us actually struggle or have trust issues because of what we've been through. So this is huge. And by the way, those of you that are new, I am a certified master life coach in the healing arts. If you're dealing with trust issues, I welcome you to reach out to me for a session, one-to-one session, and I can help you walk through some of those issues and get to the roots of why you struggle. Because it is important, Susie, it's very important actually that if I do have trust issues, that I get to the roots, because how I relate to others, how I relate to God, and how I relate to self is vital. So, trust. I must have a level of trust in order to surrender. And what are we surrendering to? The living water, which is the Spirit of God. This is what I'm teaching us, and this is how we're getting started. Anybody have any questions so far? The living water. So the living water is the Spirit of God. So let's talk about this for a minute, because this is also very important to assess for myself, for yourself. What is your relationship with God? Where are you in this dynamic or relationship with God? And let me kind of guide you. Some of you, or some of us, are very close to God. This means that you have a personal relationship, you have a spiritual practice or rituals that connect you to the divine power of the universe, okay? To God Almighty. So you are very close. Your spirit is reconciled, redeemed, and restored into right relationship. Okay? Others of you or us are perhaps not so close to God right now. Now, whether this means you've kind of not really cultivated that relationship in a while, or maybe you used to be close to God and then you just kind of stop praying or stop communion with him. And others of you are in no relationship with God. You don't even think about him. Or you don't even have a spiritual relationship with yourself. Okay? Wherever you are, this is fine. Because it is about your journey, your path, your growth. Okay? And what I want you to remember here is to embrace this about yourself. Acknowledge where you are, accept and embrace, and then begin the process. Now, my hope for you is to get to a place where you, if you do have trust issues, and some of you have trust issues with God because you have gone through some unbearable things that has made you lose faith in God. Okay? If this is you, I encourage you to reach out to maybe process some of those things. And it's okay if you've gone through it. Because a lot of us have, actually. And I personally, myself, have had seasons where I wanted nothing to do with God because of what I'd been through. And really how God was misrepresented to me by people that I looked up to or esteemed as, guides in my life. Whether it was people at church or whether it was family. And a lot of this was when I was younger, but it really doesn't matter what age you are that this happens. It's still a trauma. It still hurts your perspective of God. But I'm here to encourage you that man is not perfect. Humanity is not perfect. But there is a perfect one, and he loves us beyond measure. So assess where you are in your relationship in connection to God. Some of us, what's my favorite color? Hi, Lauren. My favorite color is pink, and all shades of pink, actually. What's your favorite color? And welcome to the live stream. Some of us, so that's the first place, is relationship with God. Where are you in this sort of, in these tiers, I guess you could say, of connection? I like that, tiers of connection. Where are you in your tier of connection with God? Some of us have different religious beliefs about God, okay? Or actually, we all have different religious beliefs about God, and understandings of how to connect to him, how to relate to him. But at the root of our spirit, there is an undeniable power that is God himself. And I firmly believe that God reveals himself regardless of your religion. God reveals himself. It's a matter of posturing, yielding, and listening to his spirit. And he speaks to all of us, okay? This is very important to understand, that we can't put limits on God. This is why religion can actually prevent us from truly receiving and understanding spiritual truth and wisdom and knowledge. So it's important to discern. There's a distinction between religion and our practices in our spiritual beliefs and the Spirit of God himself, which has no restraints, no boundaries, no human bars, if you will, to make sense of him. He is much bigger than any of us can understand, or that any of our religious practices could ever confine him to. I hope this makes sense. Ferris Garby. Hi, how's it going? Ooh, I'm sorry to hear that. So you said you got attacked by a homeless. You helped because you were helping them? And now I can't even look at them. I'm so sorry. That's no fair. I'm sorry that you went through that firstly. That's awful. And I hope you're okay. But I can see how you extended that grace and that kindness to a stranger who was struggling, and then you received being attacked. I mean, that's horrible. And I'm sorry that you went through that. But it's good that you're recognizing that you still are a kind person. You're just wounded right now. And how do you regain your kindness? I think coming back to the truth that kindness is part of your temperament or personality or person. That's just who you are. Remember this. We give from our being. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone will receive that and reciprocate that. And really, it goes for anybody, even if it was a coworker or a partner or a family member or a friend. I think the key is just to own your essence and discern how you're giving your energy. And I know if it's fresh, it's kind of hard to this just happened, so maybe it's going to take a little time to kind of regain that trust to giving them food and they slash. Oh my goodness, that's horrible. So you were giving them food and they slashed you in the face. First of all, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. This is horrible. That should have never happened to you. I'm so sorry. If you want to reach out, we can talk a little bit more. shesrestored@gmail.com is my email. But your question is this part of God's test, or should I stop caring for people? Oof. This is a difficult space to be in. Because again, you're extending your kindness and your love to a perfect stranger because that is who you are. And first of all, what you received was unjust and you don't deserve it and you should have never experienced this. And I'm sorry that you are struggling with this. And I'm literally right here giving you a virtual hug because I'm so sorry that that's happened to you. But to answer, is this part of God's test or should I stop caring for people? Whew. So when I teach on this, I teach that there's 3 spaces when it comes to us suffering. We are either, yes, there is a space where God can allow things to test us and grow us for our own benefit, for our own restoration process. Then there's the space of self, which we are constantly in this sanctification process. We're constantly growing and learning and becoming the people that we were created to be. And of course, we all have issues, we all have struggles, and we must know what those are. I teach this all the time. I must know my weaknesses because the more I'm in tune with them, the less power that other people or the enemy can have. And then there's the third space, which is spiritual warfare that comes from the evil one, and really evil. And this is where I'm getting attacked. Okay. Somebody coming to, and here's another thing to remember is, and this is because a lot of people have asked me this, how is it then that some people can be so vile and evil and others are so kind and loving? Why? How? And the reason is because we have to remember, as spiritual beings, we are either spiritually aligned and attuned to the true spirit of God, which is love. Okay, the spirit of God is love, and love is patient and kind. Okay, or well, actually, there's three spaces. My spirit is either connected to God Himself and sealed by the Holy Spirit. Second space that a human being can be is a wandering spirit. That is to say, it doesn't have a home. It is susceptible to any influence that comes at me or it. So it's, and I feel like that's a very dangerous space to be in, because if you hang out with the wrong people, and when I say wrong people, I mean people that are not kind and loving and would influence you to do awful things, then you're at the mercy of those spirits. And in fact, you are subject to being influenced to do whatever those spirits are taunting you to do. And I do mean spirits. And there's all kinds, which I won't get into tonight, but, and then the third space is somebody is literally and can be literally possessed by demonic spirits, which would cause them to, this is why you have stories of serial killers, murderers, people that do vile and disgusting things. These are people that are indwelt with demons, and this is real. I am one that will teach you demons are real, and demons can indwell humans and cause them to do awful things, and to well-meaning people. Hi, monkey. How's it going? So with this said, I'm encouraging you to, even though right now you're going to need some time to recover from this. This is a trauma that you literally just experienced a trauma. It was a physical trauma because you were physically attacked. It was a mental and emotional trauma because you were literally giving the kindness of your soul to a complete stranger, doing the right thing. And so you were in a very vulnerable space when this happened to you, and you are still in a state of shock. So my encouragement to you is to be gentle with yourself, to give yourself some time to heal and recover, and to not abandon your true nature just because someone did not receive it the way you intended to give it. This is very important for us because a lot of us have experienced this, and certainly not always in the degree that you just experienced this. But a lot of us have been on the kind empathic side and have dealt with those who would use and abuse our kindness and our energy to their advantage. And this is exactly what's happened to you, to a very extreme. So my hope is that you are getting the medical attention that you need to heal and recover, and that you give yourself some time and space to allow your soul to to heal. And I'm here if you need me. This is what I do all the time. So if you want to reach out, shesrestored@gmail.com. Good exists to balance hate. Religion tells us to help, but how can you help someone who doesn't want to be saved? I felt that maybe I deserve it because my help's come from. Oh. That's very, I can tell you have a humility that is rare. But I'm going to discourage that thought process because no, you did not deserve what just happened to you. And even if you came from a space of pity, and there was still an empathy and a kindness for extending your help, and that is, I believe that's something that God is proud of, to see us helping others in whatever capacity that is. You're very welcome. I'm glad that you came and shared that with us. And I know that wasn't easy to share, but truly, if you need anything, please reach out to me and we can talk a little bit more. But never abandon your kind nature just because others would seek to use and abuse it. A lot of us are in this space. A lot of us have been in this space where, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical, where we try to give our best. And remember, none of us are perfect, okay? We all have our issues. We all have our flaws. But it is true that there are some who, again, because whether they're on the toxic side, whether they're in recovery and brokenness, I should say, and in recovery, we're all learning and growing. But it is true that there are evil people in this world, and we have to discern. This is why it's important to discern the company and the environment that you're in. So yes, discovering welcome. Yes. I'm not sure what that means. Sorry, I don't understand. Oh, okay. Yes, actually, I am doing a teaching. I'm actually starting a series. And my name is Ruby, by the way. Welcome. And we are learning about surrender to the living water. This is what I'm going to be teaching on for the next 4 weeks. And I'm very excited. So I began our video and our teaching with taking a moment to think about water with me and to envision this for yourself, because this is the image that I want you to carry with you, because it's going to be your guide this month. It's going to be your guide. And maybe even the rest of this year. I think I even said that earlier. Water is on my spirit, you guys. As soon as I woke up this morning, I had a song in my head. I shared it as, well, it's a song message, but I shared it as a soundtrack for my Soñado Libre family. And throughout the day, I just kept thinking about it. And then I realized I'm going to be teaching about water for all of my live streams this month. And I've already started mapping out my titles of what we're going to get into. So surrender to the living water is what I am prefacing with and starting with. The living water is the Spirit of God. And surrender is our posture. Or at least I hope by the end of this month, it will be our posture. Uzbek. I look like Uzbek woman. Thanks. I'm not sure what Uzbek is. Where's that from? I've never heard of that before. But thank you for the compliment. Surrender. Where are you in this space, or even the thought of the word surrender? Does this make you feel uneasy? Surrender is a posture of letting go of control. In fact, if you think about this, and I'm going to get into this a lot this month, if you can envision or maybe remember a memory of your own where you are in water, maybe you're at a swimming pool or a lake or a river, or my favorite, the ocean, and you're in the water floating, just allowing the water to carry you. Anybody see this for themselves or have a memory of this? I do. Lots of them. It's been a minute. But this is what I want you to envision when I speak about surrender, is being in water and letting go. Letting go of control. Turkestan, Central Asia. Oh, nice. Turkestan. Wow. Well, thank you. What time is it over there, by the way? Y'all, I'm still writing my list of time zones for everybody. Surrender. Some of us have issues with surrender. And I'm going to take a pause for those of us that do, because this is super important for yourself. If you're struggling with letting go of control, there is something within you that is in fear or anxiety. Furthermore, I would say there might be a root to why. Something might have happened to you to cause you to want to not let go of control. Okay, and it can be anything. It can be anything. You guys, the list is endless. So if this is you, then we need to get to the why. Why do I have trouble trusting? Because this will get in the way of my relationship with God. If I was hurt by people, and usually this is kind of where this stems from, and especially the younger you are and the more you went through, the harder it becomes for you to have a fair perspective and a true perspective of God's love, God's protection, God's healing, God's divine will for you. A lot of our problems stem from this misrepresentation of God. Some of us got this while we were at church, whether we were younger or older. And that's unfortunate, because the church really should be, it's not, this is what I, when people ask me about church, I share this very candidly, because this is what I believe. Church is full of broken people. We should never expect that a pastor or a leader or a bishop or a father or reverend, whatever you call him in your congregation, is any more sanctified or closer to God than you are. Now, I do believe that they can be anointed to be leaders. That is to say, God has given them a mantle to lead, but it should always be done, obviously, in reverence to God and in a way that is exemplary of Jesus and his disciples. Okay? So if you are ever in a church where this is not happening, it's time to go. Again, no one's perfect. And this is also why I encourage you, it's important for you to discern for yourself, what does the Word of God say, and have a personal relationship with God so that you don't fall for deception if you are in a church that is misrepresenting God or the Lord. Okay? So with that said, some of us have been through this, as they say, church hurt, and that has pushed you away from God, or it has turned you off from wanting to hear about God. And I'm hoping that after this series, we can have a fresh, revelation of who he is. And not necessarily because I'm, some spiritual mastermind or anything like that, but because I'm going to teach you how to have your own connection and relationship with God. Because this is important, especially now with the way everything's going. This is vital that you have this connection and relationship with God for yourself. Any questions, by the way, anybody who's still in the live stream or the chat while I'm still here, please ask away. I have a question actually to ask us. Why should I want to surrender? Why should I want to surrender to the living water? And my answer to this question is because spiritually, I am already thirsty if I don't have that spiritual anchor with the Spirit of the Lord. A lot of us are here. Like I said, if you don't have a relationship with God, or I should say, you don't conscientiously seek him in your daily life or even in your life in general, and you feel that void, there's still a void, there's still something missing. You might have everything going well. You might have a wonderful family, a great house, a great car, a great job, but there's still something missing. It is that my spiritual being is missing its own home. I must have a home for my spirit because we are eternal beings that come from the spirit realm. And I must have an anchor for the rest of self. So, and to put it in this context, because we actually just got into this, because I have free will, I can choose how I want to yield myself to the spirit world and spirit realm. I can choose to yield myself to the Spirit of God, the Divine Spirit, the Holy Spirit, and really that surrender would put me in perfect alignment with my true self. Or I can choose to be a wandering soul and let the world influence me every which way, and most likely be a mess because I have no home for my spirit. I'm just at the mercy of whatever's around me, which I can imagine is a very exhausting space to be. Or worse, if I am not redeemed spiritually, then I am at the mercy of demonic and diabolical spiritual, not only spiritual influence, but spiritual possession, which I don't want. I don't want. And I don't want that for you. So, surrender. My prayer is that you surrender to the living water, because this is where I'm born anew, and I begin to truly find the peace that I've longed for, the joy that has eluded me, and the love that I desperately need. And that's our first teaching. I will be back on Wednesday, and I'm going to have some more teachings on Wednesday for this series. For our, anxiety and depression support. So I'll see you guys Wednesday if you'd like to join me. And I wish you all a beautiful, beautiful start to this month. And I pray that we get a chance to connect with water this month. Water is on my heart. I love y'all so much. Thanks for joining, and I wish y'all well. If y'all need me, shesrestored@gmail.com. You can sign up for my one-to-one sessions on the website. Everything's in the description. But I will see you guys on Wednesday, and I wish you a blessed night or blessed day, and we'll talk soon, okay?